Hello everyone, and let's do a quick book talk for Four Charming Spells, written by Lynn Cahoon. This is book number 4 in a Kitchen Witch mystery series. This is a cozy mystery series, so you do not need to worry about anything sexually explicit or any rough language. So, this one was published in 2023. And there was an audiobook available when I read this book. I read it through, or listened to the audiobook while I read along. And the audiobook that I listened to was available on Audible. It is narrated by Angie Hickman, and it is 7 hours and 51 minutes on standard one-time speed. So Mia is the main character that we are following. And was this told in third person or first person? Third person, because it's like after Mia got home, she didn't want to talk to anyone, is one of the lines. So it's told in third person. Mia owns a business called Mia's Morsels. This takes place in a small little town in Idaho. There are witches. There are some people who don't believe in witchcraft, so they kind of keep it more on the downside because some people just don't believe it. But it is also freely talked about in a way. So it's kind of hush-hush, but not quite. So anyway, Mia owns a catering business called Mia Morsels. What has happened is she purchased a school that is no longer being used, and has converted it to her home and her catering business. She works with a gal named Christina. I did find out, and it was either the prequel or book number 1, I did find out that Christina is on the autism spectrum. And it is specifically mentioned, and then it is not. Every now and then you'll get a few hints with her struggling to understand something that people that are maybe neurotypical would pick up a lot easier. But she's a side character. She is a friend and the co-worker of Mia, but the main character is Mia. By this point, Mia does have a boyfriend. Typically, you can read these in any order, and you're not going to be missing anything. There might be a few references to prior books. I personally do recommend reading them in order as you get the full effect of the story progressing. That's just my preference, but many people that I've talked about said it really doesn't matter. You can typically read these in any order. Any cozy mystery series in any order. I personally kind of tend to disagree, but I guess I'm the minority on that. So for this particular one, there is this gal named... It is Mahogany. Okay. So Mahogany, there's this gal who you have a lot of talk of death in this one. Mahogany goes to Mia for help because she thinks that the recent and sudden death of her mother was not all it seems. The thing with cozy mysteries is the main character tends to investigate things that should generally legally be left up to law enforcement, but of course in cozy mysteries either they're very understaffed and can't do it, or it's usually along the lines of they're not doing a good enough job and not doing it quick enough. So the main character generally inserts themselves into the investigation to clear their name or whatever the case is. In this one, trying to figure out what really happened to this woman. There is concern of there possibly being some illegal magic being used, and trying to figure out who's casting that. Obviously, in some cozy mysteries there are threats, and that is the case in this. There are some threats made to Mia as she starts to uncover things and get closer to the conclusion of said investigation, and it just goes from there. I mean, I don't want to say anything because they're just a fun, lighthearted read. So the main thing is a lot of loss of loved one. You see a little bit more magic, a little bit more supernatural stuff as there are ghosts talked about. There is one spell that someone uses that affects the age of a person, and that was interesting to read about as well. So that is 4 Charming Spells in a nutshell without any spoilers. I really don't want to do spoilers. I want you to go in and find these little hidden gems and reveals on your own. So, content and trigger warning, it's just loss of a loved one, and that is it. As far as the language goes, you have the word tool used 1 time as far as someone being a tool, so it's used in a not great way, and I know that word can bother some people, and it is only used once. You do have the word God used 1 time, and it is used in a religious context. Now, in this world, with her being magical, they don't really refer to God a lot. it's mostly like a goddess. So I did track how many times she used, or the word goddess was used, like thank the goddess. And that came up 14 times. So that is kind of a religious one in this book world. And that is it. This particular edition was 286 pages. So now you know about kind of how frequently the words come up. Now I do have a couple of things underlined. I don't annotate like a lot of people do. I just underline things, particular phrases or passages that could be really good quotes to refer back to, that I can see writing in. I don't know, if I were to ever do a bullet journal and want to do a book quote, I can definitely see that. So let me tell you about some of these. It says, it wasn't good for relationships to be one-sided. What's the good in being your own boss if you don't take time off to enjoy life? Okay, and this one they're talking about something, and it says it's filled with history, good and bad, just like life is. I don't want to say all of these, so let's just do like maybe two more. The body may change, but the soul, it's always the same. Good or bad, the soul can't hide. Let's do one more. Tomorrow's worry is for tomorrow. Today has its own concerns. So there's some good things in there. Now, it does say that this includes a recipe, and I didn't look at what the recipe is. So let me see. Here it is. It's a recipe for a veggie lasagna. So it's Christina, who is the one that is autistic. Christina's veggie lasagna. So it does say where to heat the oven, and how to make it. So that's pretty cool. And then it has an excerpt from book number 1, which was One Poison Pie. And now, as I'm trying to do, I'm not the greatest at it, but I do want to read about the author that is in this book. So it's just on the back cover here. It says, New York Times and USA Today best-selling author Lynn Cahoon is an Idaho expat. She grew up living in the small town life she now loves to write about. Currently, she's living with her husband and 2 fur babies in a small historic town on the banks of the Mississippi River, where her imagination tends to wander. Guidebook to Murder, Book 1 of the Tourist Trap series, won the 2015 Reader's Crown Award for Mystery Fiction. And then it lists her website. So I will list her website, which is just lynncahoon.com. So you can definitely check out her website as well. So that is it. Let me know if you've read any of the books in this series. There are a total of 6 books out so far. I do have the other 2. I hope to get to them really soon. I'm loving this series. Let me know if you've read this book. She does have other books out, so if maybe you have not read anything in this series, have you read anything else by this author? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.